Dear students, I have come with a new module, constructing a frequency table. So, variable, what do you mean by variable? So, the first thing you have to remember, the term variable refers to the characteristic that varies in amount or magnitude in a frequency distribution. See, for example, if you take the price of a product, it will vary from product to product. Wages of a worker or salary of an employee or profit of an organization. It will be different for different years or for different months. So it will vary from one to another. So that is known as the variable. So different variables are measured in different units. Say for example, price, it's rupees, wages, it's rupees, salary, it's rupees, profit, it's rupees. Whereas if you measure the temperature, that's a different unit. So that is how different variables are measured in different units. Number of members in the family, you are measuring as numbers. So different variables, always you have to remember that we are measuring in different units. So the variable can be either continuous or discrete. Now we will learn what is a continuous variable. So this is if a variable can take any numerical value within a certain range is called a continuous variable. So if you measure the temperature, so every day it will be different, 96 to 97, any value it can come, 96.1, 96.2, up to 97, any value it can come. That means it's a continuous variable. So the variable can take any value from one value to the next value, then it's a continuous variable. So many examples, height, weight, temperature. So third point you have to remember, if a variable which can pass from one value to the next by infinitely small gradation is called a continuous variable. The best example is the temperature or the height, 153, 154, 153 point. Like this you can measure from one value to the next. Any decimal value it can take. So then it is called a continuous variable. Now what do you mean by discrete variable? So discrete variable meaning which can take only discrete values or exact values are called the discrete variables. You cannot have decimal values for this. Say for example, number of members in the family, 1, 2, 3, 4. There is no question of any decimal values here. So the cricket score, there are no decimal values there. Number of shareholders in a company, there are no decimal values there. That is meaning it is a discrete variable. So this is totally different from the continuous variable where the values can take decimal values. A variable is said to be discrete when there are gaps between one value to the next. Number of shareholders in a company, 1500 to 1501. So that is, there is exact difference between the next two values. So that is called a discrete variable. Now you have to remember how you are constructing a frequency table. So the first step you have to remember that first step is to arrange the data in ascending or descending order. See for example, if you are arranging the marks. So that meaning from the lower marks to the higher marks you have to arrange. Otherwise from the highest mark to the lowest marks. So both the options possible, either ascending or descending order you have to arrange the data. Second step is to condense the data by representing the repetition by a particular mark called tally mark. So tally mark or tally bars. See for example, you are presenting the data, you are counting the number of values. So if number 5 is repeated, so that meaning when you will get 1 5, you will mark 1. Then like that 4 5s, you are marking 4. Then when you are getting the 5, you will cross that value with the 4, you will cancel. That means you will put a crossed line for that tally marks. Already 4 tally marks you have put, you will cross that. That meaning value 5 is repeated 5 times. So when you are taking the total, it's very easy. That is why we are using the tally marks or the tally bars. The next point you have to remember, number of tallies corresponding to any given mark is the frequency. So the students who got 5 marks, this 20. That meaning 20 is the frequency of students who got 5 marks. So frequency is usually represented by the small alphabet f, small f. It's not capital F. Here in statistics, alphabets are different. Whether you are using capital letters or small letters, it's very important. Frequency, we always show it as small letter f. Now, frequency thus means the number of items, certain value of the variable is repeated in a given data. So here you have to remember that frequency thus means the number of items, certain value of the variable is repeated in a given data. So if you see the table is number of members in the family. The values are 1, 2, 3, 4. The frequency values are 11. That meaning 1 member in the family, there are 11 households. 2, there are 32. 3, there are 23. And 4, there are 45. Now we are coming to the next point, that is how you construct a group frequency distribution. See, that is, the previous one is just taking the numbers. You are not dividing it into groups. So if numbers are increasing, then it's very difficult to make any conclusion from that. So we will go to the next level, that is the more simplified one, that is the group frequency distribution. So data can be further reduced by preparing a grouped frequency distribution. So what is group frequency distribution? You have seen that marks of students 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30. That is the group frequency distribution, and the frequency values will be there on the table. So in a group frequency distribution, total number of items possessing a certain number of values of the variable are put together. So 0 to 10, how many students who got that 0 to 10 marks? If it's 5 students, that meaning any 5 students who got marks between 0 to 10. So this is stated as the frequency of those values. So 5 is the frequency for 0 to 10, that class. Now marks of the students, I put a frequency distribution 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40 and 40 to 50, and the frequency values are given. So the first one is 5, second one is 10, 30, 20 and 10. Total frequency is 75. This is how you will see a group frequency distribution. Now here I have to explain what all there you have to remember from a group frequency distribution, because this is how we are going to do the statistical analysis, diagrammatic representation, everything. The group frequency distribution we are using. So this is the base. So it's important that you have to understand what you mean by that. So 0 to 10 is the class. So 0 to 10 is the first class we have taken. Then 10 to 20. That meaning 0 to 10 is the first class. 10 is the magnitude or width of the class. That is the class interval. 0 to 10 meaning 10 is the class interval. Now in the first class, if you take 0 is the lower limit and 10 is the upper limit. Like that for every class. 10 to 20 meaning 10 is the lower limit, 20 is the upper limit. So first figure in each class is the lower limit and last figure of each class is the upper limit. So any class if you take 40 to 50, 40 will be the lower limit, 50 will be the upper limit. So 0 is the lower limit and 10 is the upper limit of the first class. So this is what you have to remember in this module, and we will see with the next module. Thank you.